Okay, I'm back, folks. Sorry about that. I have a 15-minute time limit on this thing. Well, 15 minutes, 10 seconds. But anyway, again, you think honestly they, you think honestly I'm reading too much fan fiction, you're wrong, because I'm not reading too much fan fiction, folks. It's more along the lines of I kind of read between the lines. I kind of see between the lines as well. And to me, I think this this is a pairing that could have definitely been. Because there's an old saying of opposites attract. Then this is definitely the couple, the pairing that proves that. Again, you got to look at the show and see how many subtle hints kind of indicate that maybe this could have been something. They could have done something with this pairing, but they didn't. And I understand, Mallory's supposed to be portrayed as this tough girl that every now and then will bring out her feminine side. I mean, heck, what was the episode Traitor Among Us? The ending of that kind of indicates exactly what I'm talking about. But again, you kind of see her, her and Nosedive playing off each other. It's just, you just see certain things there. And I'm sure if you read some of the comics and Disney Adventures, you kind of see the same thing. But to me, this is a pairing that was really underutilized. Well, not underutilized, but basically a pairing that could have been and could have really been explored. Not just in the show, but in the comic adventures as well. And when you look at fan fiction, and I will go there for a second, one of the most popular romantic pairings they put together is not just Mallory and Wild Wing, not just Mallory and Duke. One of the most popular, I think the second most one, if not the most that they do, is Nosedive and Mallory. I'm not lying, folks. Check it out for yourself. You see what I mean. And you take a look at DeviantArt. You just go to places like DeviantArt and you put in Nosedive Mallory. Bam! You get artwork with Nosedive and Mallory. I mean, the fans that drew those pictures, the fans that wrote those fan fiction stories, they see what I saw. They saw the same thing I did. Basically, they saw the indications. They saw basically what could have been. They saw the hints. They saw all that they needed to see to kind of tell them, yes, this is a pairing that could have worked because it's so well done. It could have been so well done. They could have really played off each other. But they didn't do anything with it except just make them teammates, kind of best friends, and play off each other like brother-sister. But come on, it could have been, folks. I think we all know that. I think we all know it could have been. I think we all know that. So, to me, number two is definitely belonging to them. I mean, number two's got to belong to them because it's basically a what could have been deal. I mean, honestly, it is. It's basically a what could have been deal. I mean, what more do you have to look at besides that? So, I mean, seriously, folks. So, anyway, that's why I put Mallory and Nosedive and what could have been right there and number two. Now, number one, well, the number one shouldn't really come as much as a surprise if you watch this show, because there's so many subtle hints in the show. The fans pretty much figured that if the opportunity presented itself, it would have done it. If the opportunity presented itself, it would have done it. And what I'm talking about is the one pairing that could have been, and again, you see so many hints, you saw so many subtle and not so subtle hints in the show that kind of prove the fact that if the opportunity had presented itself, it would have happened. And I'm talking about Dale and Gadget from Rescue Rangers. Now, I know, hold your pitchforks. I know you're thinking, well, Brian, they've already established in some way Dale and Foxglove are a pair. Yeah, I get that. You read the Boom Studio release of the new Rescue Ranger comics over the past year or two, and yeah, that kind of pretty much indicates it. But let me explain something for a moment. Throughout the entire series, one of the questions every kid growing up, if not every teenager growing up with the show had, as crazy as it sounds, was who was Gadget going to end up with if that opportunity ever presented itself? Who was she going to choose? Now, true, they showed sort of a, flirtation and stuff between her and Chip. But who got the most? Who was she flirting with the most? Who was she kind of who was being hinted at for her the most? Exactly. Dale. Think about it this way. Let me give you a list of examples of what I mean. First episode. Calories not included. Yeah, Chip's complimenting Gadget, saying he believes in her, kind of starts to flirt with her, and Dale kind of jumps in, takes advantage of that, and you would think Gadget would be like, "Excuse me, what are you doing?" kind of deal. No, she embraces it. She's in that mood now. She embraces it. So there's one hint, if not a not so subtle hint. A subtle hint, if not so subtle, I should say. Then you take a look at Carpet Snaggers. You would think they would pair Gadget up with anybody, like Chip or Monterey, or maybe just Zipper, or maybe just herself, right? You think they would pair her, they would go in one of those directions, right? I'm just checking on my dog outside. But you think they would go in any one of those directions, right? But no, they choose her to be with Dale. And why? Because Dale's got to go back and get her after she kind of gets distracted by seeing electricity going through the carpet. So he has to eventually grab her, and they get caught and trapped inside the carpet. Now, what's funny about this is after she kind of cascades Dale for fooling around, or as he likes to say, trying to stop the magic, what happens afterwards, which is ironic about this, is he falls off one carpet and onto another. And then all of a sudden she drops, and all of a sudden you see this pearl necklace dangling from the other carpet. And she's basically climbing down it, right? And as she's climbing down it to go join him down on that carpet. And as soon as he tells her to be careful, what happens? The wind starts blowing, she loses her grip, and she falls. She falls, and he ends up catching her. And she basically thanks him. And you want to look for a screen capture of that scene, Google it. You'll find it. If you put in Dale, Gadget, Carpet Snaggers, you'll find it. Believe me. And if you think that's not a little bit of a subtle hint, if not so subtle hint, as well, if you think that's not a subtle hint, if not so subtle hint, take a look at the episode Whether or Not. Take a look at that episode. Gadget basically creates some kind of weather indicating device, and the first person to compliment her is Dale. The first person to compliment her is Dale. He compliments her, and she takes it. And that, to me, it's a bit of a subtle hint, but it's a hint. It's visually showing you there's something there. checking my time there. But again, it shows you that there's something there. Heck, even go before that back to the original episode, the first few episodes, the episode Dale Beside Himself. Gadget basically kind of, and there's a subtle hint there, when Gadget basically tells who she thinks is Dale, but it's actually the alien in disguise, to come sit by her. Because she feels he needs to relax a little bit. And then at the end of that, you notice how she's hugging the real Dale. Okay? I mean, how many more subtle hints do you need? And then again, going back to whether or not you get that, you get that indication there with that little scene. And, then you take a look at the episode RoboCat. Who are the two main people that who are the two main rangers that it focuses on when it comes to that story? Dale and Gadget. Who are the two that are working together with each other and believe that the RoboCat, Tom, has some good in him? Dale and Gadget. So, there you go. There's your subtle hint there, folks. There's your subtle hint there in that episode. And then you want to take a look at Dirty Rotten Diapers. She could have easily taken Monterey or Chip or Zipper with her. Instead, she takes Dale with her to go get dressed up as Raggedy Ann and Andy, if you will. Raggedy Ann and Andy, to kind of distract what they think is a baby at the time. And again, she could have took Chip or Monterey or Zipper, but she didn't. What does that tell you? And then, another subtle hint, the way I look at it, is mind your P's and Q's. Here you have a scene where Dale and Gadget are coming back, reporting back to Monterey, to Chip and Monterey. Why? Couldn't you just have Dale or Gadget or Monterey and Dale? Hello? You could have had a lot more. And then, if that's not all, if that's not a huge indicator, if you will, if that's not a huge indication, I'll give you the biggest indicator, the biggest hint, the absolute subtle and not so subtle hint. Actually, it's more of a not so subtle. My favorite episode, Double O Chipmunk. Yeah, Double O Chipmunk. This is where you definitely tell it's a not so subtle hint, an indication that they had plans for this to happen. Dale basically sneaks out of his room and into Gadget's workshop in the middle of the night. Basically puts tons of gadgets, if you will, into his tuxedo, wakes everybody up, and when he shows everybody what this new spy suit of his can do, who's the first impressed by it? Gadget. I mean, they have a camera angle, well, after Dale kind of shoots up to the ceiling, gets stuck up there due to his copter, that you see this big expression on Gadget's face. It's like, wow, totally impressed deal. It's like she can't believe it. It's like she can't believe it, but yet, there it is, right in front of her. And instead of staying mad at him for accidentally dropping a smoke bomb in her workshop, if not all of Ranger headquarters, she instead feels sorry for him. I mean, after he leaves to go back into the tree, into the headquarters, she picks up his suit, has tears shedding from her eyes, and says, "You know what? He wants to be a spy. I'm going to help him." And she does. She does help him. And how does she help him? I'll let you know in a second.